Sorry.
Don't trip. They got there. That's officially on, bro. It's
Oh,
officially
shit.
on. Don't trip. Don't trip. We're about to go live in a few minutes, few seconds actually. Few seconds. All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome to another episode of Rasa Stan Podcast. I am your host, Flo, and again we have another guest. This time it is my own very own cousin, David Mendez. David Mendez is an individual that I've known obviously my entire life. He's currently a carpenter, up north, and he's had quite a journey, to get up there, and it's really I'm really happy to have him on here because we've talked about this. He's been active in the lives and he's had a really wonderful story. So without further ado, I bring to you David Mendez. So let us know who you are, man.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for if you're listening live. Well, thank you for tuning in, and for those that probably catch it later on the live. I mean on the record, on the on the wherever. Yeah, I mean my story started back in 1988. I guess you could say. Grew up pretty tough. I grew up in Hollywood. That's where I mean I was born in East LA. Grew up in Hollywood. I was the second youngest of four siblings. Parents are born in Mexico, from Michoacan, and yeah, man. I mean, I lived 12 years in Hollywood, and 12 years. Then the next 12 years, I moved to San Fernando Valley, and yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, how we grew up. I mean, we didn't know anything about. I was never taught anything about financials or economics. I was just taught to work hard, get a job. That's all we were taught, and yeah, I mean, that's how the whole thing started, and then now I live in Northern California. Been up here now for about 9 going on 10 years, I believe, right around there. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I never thought I'd be up here. When I moved up here. And when I moved up here, I was by I moved up here pretty much. I didn't have no family other than my girlfriend at that time. Now she's my fiance.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And they opened the door for me. Live with them for a little bit, and yeah, I mean it was a crazy like transition there, because I mean being alone, you've been living all your life with living close to your cousins, and you have all your friends over there and all your family, and just coming over here just like kind of like where am I, what am I doing over here, but it was a little tough at first, and came up here, I got a job opportunity, and I took it, without thinking about it, and I was working 2 jobs at the time, before I moved over here. I was doing one full time. I was running a business for my uncle, and then I had a part time right after that. I had a part time at an AutoZone, so I had little, I was just starting at one, doing an 8-hour shift on that one, and then right away hopping onto the next one. So, then I got a job opportunity up here, and I started, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm gonna try it." See what I didn't do any research, to see what's the cost of living over here. None of that. I just said I'm going, and I told my mom, I'm gonna take off. I was 22, 23 around that age when I told her. She's like, "What are you gonna go do over there?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go try it out." So
Yep.
yeah, got that job opportunity, and I was like, I gotta make the best of it, and I can't fail, I can't fail, whether I like it or not, I can't fail. So yeah, I made it happen, and I was with this one company for around 6 years. Then I got another job opportunity, through a friend. He was a supervisor there, and then he he told me, hey, you want to come over? And all right, try it out. And I've been with this company for 3 years now. So when I moved up here, um, I'm in construction. So I started as I guess you could say I guess at the lower end of the trades, where just like a labor, and it's just general construction. Just do a little bit of everything, and then one day I was at this job site, and they put a whooping on me like no, like never before. Never before. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I
Mhm.
doing here? Why am I allowing this to happen? Why am I allowing this to happen to me? Like, I'm born here. Like, I speak the language. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? Working this hard. Why can't I be doing something else where, I don't have to
Yeah.
work so hard,
Mhm.
you know? And so I, talking to friends and people, and I'm like, you know what? Um, I feel like changing trades, which was to a carpenter, a
Mhm.
little better, and better, just better everything in general, and got that going, and now I have probably like 7 years, no, 6 years, it's almost like 7 years now,
Órale.
carpenter, yeah, and I've been all over the Bay Area, so been doing pretty big projects, been on big projects for like Amazon, uh,
Wow.
Google Cloud, hospitals, some for Apple, Facebook. You name it. I've been up here. I've done prison. Even prisons too. Like we've
Oh
done
shit.
prisons. So, pretty a lot of government jobs. Like
Mhm.
or not only government jobs, but yeah, it's courthouses, and it's been great. It's been amazing. Can I just feel like this move has been one of my biggest moves, and it's paid off.
For sure. I mean, just going back to some of the memories we had as kids, like you said, we grew up in the same household for probably about, I think 12 years, like you said, right? I think if I'm correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, and one thing that I always admired about you was your fighting spirit. Even when you were younger, you weren't always the biggest dude,
uh,
but you never backed down from people, and it at times it almost felt like you were even protecting me, and I was older than you, when we used to play basketball, and just that was something that I always admired about you. Even when we were younger and during that phase of quote unquote gang culture. We definitely were not somebody to fuck with, I
yeah,
would say, uh, but so seeing that transition, because if I'm correct, you got your GED, right? You didn't get your high school diploma as well.
yeah. No, I just got my GD.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got my GD. So I was about to drop out at one
I
point.
remember that.
I was about to drop
Yeah.
out, and I wasn't. I was just occupying the seat at
Mhm.
one point. And my mom, she would tell me, hey, boy, if you're not gonna go to school, what, like, either go to work or do, we don't go just occupy a seat.
Yeah.
And that like stayed in my head, and you know what, I'm like, that's she's right, and I just got my act together. I just got
Yep.
my act together. I'm like, what if I like start paying attention and doing my work to see what happens?
Mhm.
And the results were immediate. They were immediate. I started
I
getting.
remember your speech still when you
Uh,
graduated. Like that was powerful too. And it made me proud of you too because, like you said, you weren't really. I could tell you weren't really trying.
yeah,
And even back then, just you know, recalling some of the things we did, especially during 2006 when we went to protest.
yeah,
And we were out there, and being quote unquote super Chicanos, I guess if you want to call it that. Uh, I remember that one situation where you had the flag and you're waving it, and then this lady came up to you and said, like, if you don't like it here, then you should leave.
Yeah.
You got into it with her, and I was like, no, you should go back to the Mayflower. Like, the Mayflower is that way and shit.
Yeah, that was
But
cool.
like I said, I mean, you're always pushing it. You never back down. And so hearing how when you went up there and, you went up there with an opportunity, but still you weren't satisfied with that. You still wanted more. And that is a thing that a lot of people in your situation, you're alone. You don't know your family. Me, I have people there, but you don't have your family like you did. And I remember the day you left too. You looked like you were just super sad to leave, but I was like, you know what? This was got it. I mean, I'm not worried about him. And sure enough, you just you kept building yourself. So I'm not shocked with your success. That's what I'm saying. Even though academically, that was never your thing, you still were able to take advantage of the opportunities you were given. Because like you said, I mean, you're working 2 jobs at one point and you're like, man, I don't like this shit, and so to see you be there 10 years ago, right, where you're working in AutoZone and then also working for our uncle at one point, and the potential that you had, you've been able to unlock that and build yourself, to where you're not worried about living in a neighborhood where you're going to get fucking mugged, like you set yourself up in a nice area.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, like, I always felt like, I mean, I didn't have anything. I never had anything. So I'm like, I mean, what do I got to lose? So I just went for it, man. I just went for it. And that's just to anybody that, that's probably, they think that they probably see no way out or whatever, whatever reason, there's always a way out, wherever there's a will, there's a way. And or vice versa, something like that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was tough at first, but I knew that I had what it, how do you say, I had what it
took.
Yeah, I had what it took, to make it. And yeah, I mean, I've made the best of all the opportunities that have been presented to me. And I mean, obviously growing up in our neighborhood, when we were all, bald headed, and it was crazy times, being stopped by police or even by other gang members. I mean, we were not gang members, we just like one, but we were just, but it was crazy, it seems like, I mean, it is a very long time ago. You think about it. It's like what, that's probably like, I want to say maybe like 14 years or so.
Probably a little bit more.
Around there. Yeah, maybe 15 years around there.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting 10 years.
Yeah. The transition from that, I'm sure that was a shocker too, when you got over there, like you said, especially with the whole North and South thing,
Yeah.
I mean, that's never going to be something that, like I said, we weren't involved with gangs, but I mean, it was always in our head. We understood what it was and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when you went up there, it was almost like something turned on, like, okay. So I'm sure that was one thing that, you probably saw. And also just even like the neighborhoods because we had neighborhoods too that were well off where we lived. But like I said, where you live is, I consider it, a really nice neighborhood. It's out there, literally out there. And you're literally like segregated from everything, like you're in peace where you're at, man. Like the burbs, you have it's a gated community, people have to, you have to tell people, that you're gonna come in and stuff. So I was like, damn, am I visiting the president when I came? You know what I mean? So that's dope, man. I mean, like that's really cool that this is the comparison to go from a Largo to that.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted to live somewhere where I didn't live before. I didn't want to go back to that environment again. I lived in that environment for too long. It's kind of, and it takes a toll on you, I think. And when I was on the search, where I live now, it was like a place that I never even thought existed. I'm like, where am I going?
Yeah, exactly. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's like, wait,
just came here.
When you gave me the address, I was like, did you give me the right address?
Yeah, that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to leave that environment. I didn't want to go back to that. And I wanted to try something different. I thought it would be a little bit hard to get in because for type of place that it is, but it's like anything else, I guess. And
Yep. Yep.
yeah, but that was something that I was on the search for for a house, and I looked around, and I didn't think I was going to be able to get a house here in this area because the way the process of how you, because it was already an established community, but they were still growing.
Mm.
So so the way they were built, the houses, the track where I was trying to buy, um they uh they did like releases like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. So they
Mhm.
just released a couple homes. And so yeah, you had to put yourself on a waiting list, and go on a Saturday when they held the release. So if your name was called up, you're one of the four, then you got to choose your
Wow.
your lot, and the style of home I guess that you wanted. And yeah, so I went the first time, and it kind of
Intimidating.
yeah, not intimidating, but like I was kind of like
What the
uh
fuck is going on here?
yeah, all these people are here, all these, because like it was like they held the release like in a in a model home, so like damn, there were
Mm.
like, probably like 30 people in there. Like, damn,
Shit.
highly desirable, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I went the first time and I didn't get called up, so I left like kind of like beat, not beat, but like like
Like damn.
defeated in a way, like damn,
Yep.
I'm not gonna
Yep.
be able to get a place there, so like, whatever. So then I stayed on the list because I showed up, because if you didn't show up, you lost your place in the list. So I was talking to the realtors, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have another release in another 2 or 3 weeks. And all right, well, I'll be back. And then I was just like, I was looking around somewhere else just in case it didn't work out. And yeah, I I was hanging out with some friends. It's kind of funny how this happened. I was hanging out with some friends on a Friday night. We're playing pool, and stuff. And I wasn't gonna go. I was like, I'm gonna sleep in, whatever.
Yeah.
Something just said that get up and go.
Mm.
And my fiance, she was like, you should go, because she didn't live with me at that time. I had roommates at that time,
Yeah.
and she was like, go. And like I woke up, I was like kind of had like a little bit of headache, and I'm like, man. So like what I did, I ran to the bank. I got myself a a little page of what you call those, the personal checks, little
Okay.
page, just in case I got called up, and because you had to leave a deposit, if you get called up. So yeah, so I did that, and I drove over here, and so there was again. I walked in. There was like a big crowd again of people. I'm like, damn, like, there's more people this time, and I'm like, I probably won't even get called up or nothing. And I just signed myself in, and I was waiting for probably like 30 minutes, for before they started cutting out the names. And and then little do you know, the realtor walks in, and he's like, David. I'm like, oh, is it like me? I was the very first one
Oh,
they called.
David's here, right?
Yeah, I'm like, another David. I'm like, what? I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, come here. I'm like, all right. So I walked in with him into the office. He's like, yeah, it's your choice. You pick, take your pick. I'm like, damn, I couldn't believe it at that point. I was like, really? Like, um, I'm about to go into contract, into
Mhm.
buying a house that I never thought, would be even possible. Or
Exactly.
like, it's for me, I just never thought I'd be in that situation, even thinking about buying a house. It just sounded like a dream, because my parents, we never had anything. We were just from
Mhm.
from apartment to apartment, or I even lived in the garage at one point.
Yep. Remember that?
So, it was kind of like, it felt really good, like very satisfying, I hope make my parents proud, and yeah. So it was very, very unreal. Like the whole day, like for months, I was like still like on cloud nine. You could say like,
Of
wow,
course.
like is this even real? Like really? so it was a process. So I was 27 at that time when I got into contract, buying the house. And yeah, and it's kind of funny because one of my coworkers, he had told me, he's like, yeah, well, when I got my first house, um, me and my wife, we went and we were just looking at houses, and we came out, with with a house, deciding on a house. I'm like, literally, the same thing happened to me. And yeah, and then so that was how that started. And so then the process of building the house it took like probably like 5 months, 6 months. So I saw the lot when it was just bare, just dirt, plain dirt, and seeing every step of the way. And I wanted to go that route, like a new home, for the fact that I wanted to be the first owner. I didn't want to go into the bidding war
Exactly.
with other people trying to buy the same house, and I don't want to deal with any of that. So fresh, and I saw the process of the home build, and it was amazing. It's kind of like something that you put on a frame and show it to your kids later. So yeah, that was very. And it's still now. Like I still kind of feel like it's not real, like it's not
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, that in itself, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have given up just for the first one, you know, just for the
yeah,
first one. I mean, I go one because, like you said, you never had anything growing up, didn't have a home growing up. You lived in places, and
mhm,
I'm pretty sure maybe you never thought about it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be like, well, I don't belong here, because I'm a raza, I'm Mexican, I'm
yeah,
Chicano, so I don't belong with these people here. They know what to do, right? But again, your fighting spirit, your mindset, I think that probably played a role into, okay, well, I do belong here
yeah,
in this neighborhood. I don't care who lives here. I have the money to pay for it, and I deserve to be here. It doesn't matter who says I can or cannot, and I'm gonna fucking show up and stay here. So that I'm sure probably played in the back of your mind, right?
money talks. Money sees no color. And and I didn't know what type of people live here. I drove the neighborhood, and used to see people walking up and down, walking their dogs, and whatever, doing exercise. I didn't care who lived here, whether,
Yeah.
but little did I know it was actually a very diverse community, in which that was very, obviously, that's a good thing, right? It's a very
Mhm.
good thing. But I didn't care if it was all white or all black or all Hispanic, all Asian. You got a little bit of everything here, so I don't care. And even if I felt like I guess you could say, if I felt like I didn't fit, I never saw it that way. If I'm able to be here, it's because I can, or because I could, and I don't. I don't really care. I never see race or any of that as a barrier or anything to stop me from doing or getting what I want to get.
This was with the conversation we had yesterday on the live, people talking about race and how is it a barrier. I mean, you're clearly an example of it
Yeah,
not being a barrier. Like I
yeah,
said, you came from the barrio, literally grew up in a garage, and now you have your own home, like, and again, first owner.
yeah,
How many, Chicanos can say that, that grew up from these neighborhoods, and
yeah,
especially in California, man, to have a home in California.
yeah.
I mean, that's another layer of accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Like I still don't see it as a big success. Maybe for some it is. I did see it as a success, but I'm still not satisfied. I still want more.
See, and that's why, again, I respect you because you keep on moving up.
Like,
You
and
know?
and I'm not the only one with a home. There's many people probably younger than me that have found a home, but for me, it's pretty special. It's really special how, like, the way we grew up.
So
But I never.
what would you say to a kid that grew up like you, right? Same situation. What would you say to him or her, about getting a home today?
Just keep going, man. Look. You gotta have like that tunnel vision. Set that goal. Then don't stop. Just keep going. The minute you start placing fear in front of you, or you start putting excuses where, oh, racism this or that, or I'm not supposed to have this because I'm the oppressed. No, it
Hmm.
doesn't work that way. I don't think so. Look at me. Nothing stopped me from from getting my house. You know, so that's I think those are just a bunch of excuses, and people have to be accountable for for their actions or for whatever whatever it is that they feel like is being put against them. But that's something I gotta say to someone that somebody that's growing up or in a tough situation. Just keep going, man. Just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because that is true. Like I said, a reason why I started this platform is because a lot of us are told we're victims. We're told that we can't do shit because of our situation, and that's why this episode is called Playing the Game, because people are asking in the chat, what game is he talking about? Playing a video game, playing a soccer game? I mean, no, like we're talking about the game of life, specifically the game here in the United States. We have two options. Well, we have many options. One of them is you play the game, you understand it. One of the people in the live here compared the game to Monopoly, right? We grew up playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
But sometimes the rules, I mean, what's the rule of Monopoly? Obviously, is to become a Monopoly, right? But a lot of us, even when we play that game, we don't really understand how to play it. And I think you can apply that to life too, specifically here, with the system, whether we like it or not, however it started, we could debate about, if it's right or wrong. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, unless something dramatic happens, right? So I made the change, like I said, many, many times years ago, to embrace it and to be part of it. And yesterday, the conversation was around, well, does it help the collective? Does it help the whole group? It doesn't help the whole group, but it helps out the individual. And as an individual, you can help out other people, right? What you're doing right now, talking about that, is putting yourself out there, saying, this is how I did it.
Yeah.
Somebody listening to this can be like, well, okay, I can follow what he did. Or they can be like, nah, I don't want to do that because, it's too difficult. Yeah. Your choice.
Yeah.
So that's how you're helping out people.
Yeah.
Sharing your story.
And I mean, everyone's situation is different. Somebody might say, oh, well, maybe you had this, or you did this, or you had this opportunity, and maybe not everybody has an opportunity, the same opportunity. Well, I mean, everyone's journey is different. The way it went for me, I mean, that's how it went for me. The way if you try yourself and do it, I mean, it's probably going to be a little different for you. I felt like I prepared myself. I mean, at first I thought like it would be hard, like to get a house. I would always hear like, damn, like all this paperwork, all these documents, like I felt like I needed like a ton of money to get a house, and it was nothing but the opposite. It was so simple. I was just always waiting for them to ask me like something that was gonna like kind of like slow things down or like halt it in a way, but it was easier than I thought. Obviously they check all your pay stubs and all that stuff, your tax records and stuff like that, but it was much easier than I thought. And before I even jumped into getting a house, I mean, I got myself out of whatever debt I had. Come in.
That is huge.
Come in like with a brand new house. Kind of like starting from scratch with my credit. Debt free. Come in like well prepared, I guess. And I think that's kind of like what really helped that transition be really smooth. The loan officer, he had told me like I hadn't really seen something like this simple. Loan like this simple in a long time. I'm like, oh well, I guess that's a good thing, right?
And that's a great segue to economics, because you have become, I would say, somewhat of an expert, or someone that you can talk to about economics. You're always sending me these different things in economics, and I think it's really interesting how you brought that up, because a lot of us growing up, and I'm sure you probably had that mindset too when we were younger. We wanted to get the badass car, wanted to get the fucking badass shoes, the badass clothes, to get the girls, or whatever it was, and we have, Raza has money, but we don't know how to use it, for things to invest, right? I mean, look at what a lot of families do with quinceañeras, right? They save up all this fucking money, throw on a big ass party, and then that money goes away. You could use that for something else to make a down payment or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna give my daughter a quinceañera. Like my goal is to set her up financially. What I'm doing now is saving up money for her, and when she leaves our home, and I'm not talking about when she's 18 or whenever she decides to leave our home, Like, this is your money. You do what you want with it. You can spend it on whatever you want. It's gonna be your choice. Hopefully she doesn't do that. She makes the right choice.
Yeah.
You know, if I teach her the right things, but she can't say, well, I had a fucked up start.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be responsible for our kids.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of us don't do that. You know, we want to help our kids, you know, by buying them things, you know, and that's nice. You know, like my dad did that for us too. You know, he bought us toys and stuff. And my dad, you know, he set us up pretty well too, but we just didn't know how to handle that money. You know, we were ignorant. We were financially illiterate.
Yeah.
A lot of us are. And, you know, that's another reason why we don't succeed when it comes to economics. But I mean, as far as economics, man, like, what got you interested in economics in the first place?
Man, it's kind of like, I mean, well, last year, I mean, specifically last year, I mean, I was, like you said, I was financially literate. Like I said, I mean, all I knew was like work hard, you know, just get your paycheck and obviously pay your bills, whatever it is you have, and that's it. You know, save money and put it in the bank, and that's it. I mean, and this happened, and it's kind of like I got really into it in December of 2019, before all this COVID.
Right before, no.
COVID stuff.
Good timing.
Before all this happened, and it was kind of funny because I was going through Instagram. You know how you go through your reel, like
Yeah.
stuff with different things, and one thing came up that really caught my attention, and got my attention. It said it had like three things. It had Starbucks, Apple, and Nike. So instead of buying the newest iPhone or the newest AirPods or Starbucks, instead of buying Starbucks, or instead of buying the latest or the newest Nike shoe, how come you just don't invest in?
There you go.
Buy shares, buy stock. And that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking into the stock market, you know, and like, it's kind of interesting. And I had always heard about the stock market. I had never knew how to work. You know, I always see it on my phone. I'm like, I wonder why it's on my phone all the time. You know, like standard, you know, comes standard. You could see, you know, all this stuff. I'm like, I just saw numbers. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
And I was never taught or talked. I never talked about it with anyone. And I just kind of got myself into it myself, I guess. And yeah, I mean, 2020 was like, I mean, I guess a lot. I mean, it was, I guess, a bad year. For me, I kind of felt like it was a really good year, positive year. It got me to see a lot of things in a different way, you know, like in a good way, you know. And I feel like it's in a good way, right? But yeah, I mean, I got into stocks, and I started doing research. You know, the research is out there, you know, and you just got to put in the time, you got to put in the work, and I started looking up the abbreviations, like the words, because they have all kinds of words, like what is this, like the P ratio, or what's the dividends, you know, what's the market cap, you know. Like I started looking up all this stuff, and there's a website called Investopedia that kind of like tells you anything economics, anything, what it does, how it works. It's all kinds of information in there, and that's a really good website. So I recommend that, just in case, you know, there's somebody listening. And
there's a lot of listeners asking a lot of questions here, honestly. Yeah.
And yeah, so I started, you know, that's how I got into it. And as I started, you know, getting a little bit more knowledge, I started realizing, you know, like don't put money in a savings account. You know, you're losing value. You're losing your purchasing power.
Mm-hmm.
Just by sitting in the bank. In the bank, you're not collecting any interest, nothing. I mean, and if you do, you're getting like very, very, like probably less than 1%. Yep. So I mean, so I started putting some money into the stock market, and thankfully, you know, things started going really good. And I mean, I'm not saying I made a shit ton of money, you know, but I made some money, and yeah, I mean, that was really made me see things, a lot of things in a different way. You know, it kind of like took me off from, like, you know, buying the like, because before I would buy like the nice shoe, or like the newest pants or the clothes.
Yeah. Exactly.
like you're pretty much throwing your money away. I'd rather just live normal, just dress normal. I mean, I never dressed anything fancy or anything, but yeah, I mean, I just kind of like cut back on that and started like actually putting my money more into like something that's gonna pay me to own it. You know, like an asset. You know, an asset is something that is something that pays you to own it. You know, so in stocks, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure some people are familiar, some are not, but there's some stocks that actually pay you to own them. It's called the dividends, and some pay more, some pay less. But yeah, I mean, I own a couple. I mean, stocks that pay me just to hold, just to
own them.
They pay a quarterly dividends, and yeah, I mean, I just have my money sitting there and it pays me more than the bank would. And plus, not only that, I mean, you're getting equity too. So whatever goes up in value, it's all you know. So I mean, that's one thing that got me like really into economics.
That is really, really interesting, like I said, because if you go back when you were in high school, you probably had no idea what that was or didn't even care about it, had no interest in it, you know. For those who came in late, you know, again, grew up in the barrio, you know, was more attracted to the hood culture, you know, all that stuff. That was more attractive than these things. And what I've told people, you know, in my lives and in the episodes is that if I had applied that knowledge in my 20s, instead of saying, no, the government did this to us, you know, and that's not to deny the history of our people. You know, obviously we've been oppressed. There's no denying that. I mean, that's why we have the situation we got into. But if I would have spent my energy on saying, okay, well, yeah, I'm oppressed, but what am I going to do about it? Am I going to say, you know, these fools suck or whatever, you know, fuck these fools or whatever? That isn't, I'm just spitting into the ether and nothing's going to get done. Yeah. You know, I've been to the protests. We've been to the protests, you know, we put in the work when it came to that. We did our social justice, you know? So, I mean, we have that resume and I'm not going to knock on that. And I'm not going to say that we wasted our time, but our situation didn't change. Yeah. Our financial situation didn't change. We're still living in the barrio, you know, we're still living in situations where you know, it was hard, you know, and I'm not saying that people should leave the barrio, you know, if you want to live there, that's cool. But the barrio lacks community. We don't have community in the barrios, you know, you have to constantly watch yourself. You have to, people jack your shit, you know, and who wants to live like that realistically? Nobody wants to live in a situation where you have to fucking worry about your shit, you know, and if anybody does, they're lying to you and shit, you know? So unless we create that in the barrios, and I don't see it happening because I mean, the barrios have been the barrios for years, you know, they're economically deprived and that's the issue. There's no money in the barrios or if it is, we don't own it. Yeah. You know, so what you're doing, buying these shares, you're also building, aside from the home, you're doing what builds wealth in this country, what builds power in this country. You got land. Now you're buying stock, you know, and these are the things that, again, we're not taught in school. Yeah. It's just bullshit in school, you know, things that we don't even, we're never going to use, you know? So I'm really glad that even as somebody who didn't, you know, who got a GED is able to do that, right? I myself got a degree, you know, and I'm still like, don't really get it. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't matter when it comes to your education level, you can still thrive from this system if you apply the right things, you know, especially economics.
You can still self-educate yourself. Exactly. You get to learn it, you know, back in school. I mean, the internet, we have the internet, you know, like, you know, like, you know, that the internet wasn't like all that great, I guess, probably back when I was in high school. Maybe it was.
It's a little raw back in the day.
Yeah. But I mean, I just wish I knew what I know now. Exactly. 10 years ago. I think I would have been in a much different situation. You know, but I'm working on it. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. I never took any economics classes or anything. You know, I'm just a normal person, you know, just trying to figure the ways, you know, find the ways, you know, to you know, make it and try to do something, you know, instead of blaming, you know, others for what I didn't accomplish or for what I didn't, you know, do. And but yeah, I mean, I told myself, you know, I got to play the rich man's game. If that's the game, then I will be in it.
There you go.
You know? and I'm not greedy. I mean, because they always say that the greed and you rich folks are greedy, and I mean, it's not that. It's like you gotta. I chase the freedom that comes with the money. I don't chase them, but I chase the freedom that comes with the money.
That is huge.
So yeah, I mean, that's what really got me into it, and now I mean it's just set it, like they say, set it and forget it. Do your research, and it could be anything, like it could be anything. There's like so many stocks for everything, like for example, I mean, I have some stocks that, I mean, they own farmland. Why not own the farmland? And it pays me a monthly dividends. Just by having the money there. So I mean, for those that have money in their savings account, I mean, especially
Get it out.
Yeah, get it out, because I mean, they gave us some stimulus. I mean, well, they gave stimulus. I didn't really benefit from it, but they gave stimulus last year. They put money in your front pocket, but now they're taking that out of your back pocket. So I mean, it's crazy times, economic times.
So of course, there's going to be those people who are going to say, as a matter of fact, we have somebody in the chat right now who's saying, that the system wasn't made for us, that we're profiting off the colonial system, right?
Mhm.
And it's not really for us, and if we do, then we're taking advantage of other people. So how would you reply to something like that?
Well, I mean, says who? That it wasn't made for us. Maybe it's not made for yourself. I mean, if you like, maybe it's not made for yourself. Then, I mean, for me, I mean, I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
If you know how to play, why not?
Exactly.
You know how to play soccer, why not?
Exactly. That's true. And like I said yesterday in the live, I don't know if you caught the whole thing, and I wanted to put an end to this conversation when it comes to capitalism and communism, because it's been brought up so many times to me, and I finally get why a lot of Raza doesn't like capitalism, because it benefits the individual as opposed to benefiting the collective. And a lot of Raza wants to bring everybody with them, right? But let's be realistic. We're not going to be able to do that.
No.
And not because these people are not capable, but because a lot of people don't want to. They want to still engage in things that, doesn't really make them any better, right? Maybe it does in other ways, but again, if you want to thrive in the system, you have to know how to play the game. And if you don't know how to play the game, you're just going to make excuses to say, you know what, this ain't made for us. This is a white man system, whatever it is. And like I said, I was there at one point. I mean, we were there at one point. We were talking shit about white people all the time, like I said, and it didn't really make me feel any better. I was always angry about the situation, and I'm saying this as a Chicano studies major, as a history major, as somebody who, I'm not talking, from a place of, I don't know my history. I know my shit. So if anybody wants to, to bring up any history, I know it. You know what I mean? And you can do one or two things with history. You can use that history and use it to empower yourself. And you'd be like, you know what? Yeah, we came from, our great grandmother was born in an hacienda. She didn't know how to read. So just to be able to have that experience where she was born there, and now you, just a couple of generations later, own the land, bro, that's a huge step up. Whether the system was made for us or not, you moved up in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, that's how I see history. We were given horrible cards. Okay, it ain't gonna stop me. You know what I mean? And like I said, you have that fighter mentality, and you've been doing that your whole life. A lot of people have that too, but they're fighting an invisible giant that they're never going to be able to beat. You know what I mean? So unless you waste your whole time or spend your whole time trying to fight this thing, you know what? Hey, do what you got to do. That's your choice. But if you don't progress, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like like you said, like they're saying, like this game wasn't made for us. Like you said, we got dealt some bad cards. It's kind of like a poker game. You know how to pay your card, even though you got the worst hand in the table. If you know how to pay your hand, you could beat the best card in the table. You just gotta know how to. You just gotta play the game. If the game is there for anyone. I mean, I don't know, like they have a stock market in Mexico. You know, they have a stock market in all over, you know, all places in the world. And I don't know if I don't know if it was adopted here, like the stock market or, you know, whatever. But I mean, same game is played in Mexico, the same game played in China. You know, what's the excuse? You know, the excuse. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, you know, if you want to, you know, live a communist life or socialist life, there's a lot of socialist countries you can go to. You know,
there's plenty.
Go for it. Go live there. You know what I mean? Like,
no, like, well, why can't I have more than my next door neighbor, or why can't my neighbor have more than me? What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
But if he's putting in the work, why can't he have more?
Exactly. You know, that's my competition. You know, people like that, people that say, "Oh, you ain't gonna do it." We're fighters, bro. You know, we ain't gonna be like, "Oh, okay, well, you tell me I can't do it, so I guess it's true."
Yeah.
You know, like, nah, man, this is your fucking game. Okay, I'm still gonna beat you at your own fucking game.
You know,
you know what I mean?
It's like if we're running up a hill, and you know we all want to keep going, but I mean, the other guy decides to stop because he's tired. I'm like, hey, bro, we gotta keep going, or now you're gonna get left behind. I mean, no matter what, I mean, you know, you gotta keep going.
Yeah.
If it's to survive, you know, I mean, you gotta keep going.
Exactly, and not just now with capitalism. That's just with life, period.
Yeah, period.
You know, I mean, that's how evolution works.
Yeah, not everybody's gonna make it, and not everybody's gonna be, you know, not everybody's not gonna make it, and that's just the way I think that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you are giving people a lane with your things you're talking about, a way, you know, because you could have been like, you know what, I'm not gonna get on here, fuck these fools, I ain't gonna talk about this shit. You know, you telling us your story, right, on how you use this system to benefit from it. And now, like I said, you know, you own a home, you know, you've been able to go up in the economic ladder, right? So that's how you're helping our people. You're not doing it, maybe you're doing it intentionally, I don't know, maybe you're not, but you're still doing it in a way. Like I said, people can take that information and be like, damn, I'm gonna hit that fool up and be like, hey, like, let's talk about it more. You know, how does this process work, you know? Or you can be like, nah, fuck that guy, you know, that guy doesn't know shit, or you know, he's a colonizer, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? That is your choice.
That's your choice.
At the end of the day, you know, he's just putting the information out and you choose what you want with that information.
Yeah. It's like I met this guy a couple of weeks ago. He was Indian. You know, he was Indian.
Okay.
India, you know, and it's crazy. He was telling me like he actually owned like I mean, I won't call it a Mexican restaurant, but like Spanish name, like La Botica, whatever it's called, La Botica, and you know, sold all kinds of tequilas and everything. Damn. He was Indian. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, no, nothing against him. I mean, you know, if he's got the capital, if he has the money to do it, he could do whatever he wants. But not only that, I mean, you know, like he's actually creating jobs too. You know, he's creating jobs, and he's taking all the risk. You know, whether he makes money or not, whether he makes a profit or not, he has to pay his workers no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's so regardless, his workers eat before he does. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, and not only that, I mean, he said his family, they came from India. You know, they came from India, and not only that, they own gasoline stations. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, because we got into it. I'm like, like, why? I noticed that a lot of your people, like you guys, like own, like, you know, like I mean, I see you guys working a lot, like in 7-Elevens or like gasoline stations or like truck drivers. You know, I see that a lot. It's like, well, I mean, gasoline stations are actually like, you know, like you can make a lot of money on those things. Like, and it says they make like 25 cents or something like that profit per gallon. I'm like, huh, do the math. You know, it's pretty sick, you know. And you know, they own land. I mean, but like, I mean, like what I'm trying to say here is like nothing stopped them from getting all this in this country. I mean, they came here from across from the other side of the world.
Yep.
You know, and they ain't making excuses. They ain't crying. You know, you just gotta do you. You gotta do. You know that if you're always gonna be in the victim state of mind. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, you're not gonna
progress.
Exactly.
Yep.
It sounds kind of sad maybe sometimes, but or I mean, maybe it sounds kind of harsh, but I think if you don't try, if you don't go for it, you're never gonna get places. So it's a one thing that I kind of like motivated me even more. And I'm no different from you or from anybody behind the screen watching. I'm nothing special. I'm not a trust fund baby or nothing. I'm just once normal person.
Exactly. So you didn't come from fucking money, it's not like you came from, you were not set up, so again, a lot of people don't understand that part, especially when it comes to our people. The reason why as a collective, as a group, we don't have financial power to make changes is because the constant immigration from Latin America, right? So like you said, this person came from India, right? They build themselves up. So if you follow a family, like for example, you're second generation, right? When you have kids, they're going to be more well off than you were well off, and so on and so forth. And that's the goal, right? To do better for your kids. A lot of these white people who've been here for fucking hundreds of years, that's why they have wealth, because they've been here forever, like whether they did it through colonization or through violence. I mean, you can't go back and undo that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do and go and fucking, take everybody's money and shit? I mean, how would you even do that? And secondly, too, there's also a lot of immigrants who came from Europe after the Civil War, Italians, Irish people, Germans, whatever, who had nothing to do with colonizing native peoples or and they still build their shit up too.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, bro, I mean, that is never really talked about. It's always, the English, came here. Yeah, that happened. A lot of the people that came from those areas too, they didn't have wealth. It's a very, very limited amount of people who have wealth. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I kind of forgot, but no, you could go on to say talking about what you were saying. Sorry.
No, I'm saying that yeah, like I said, that wealth is built through generations.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, hopefully once, I mean, if I ever have kids, like hopefully, they're better off, because I mean, I was never taught any of this stuff. I always hung around people, I mean, that were older than me, and I always saw them, having nice things. I guess to me, those were nice things to me then.
Yeah.
And that kind of like pushed me to have nice things too, or not nice things, but like try to, go, kind of like go beyond, do more to achieve that. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, I just wish I knew what I know now, 10 years ago. But it's been, I mean, it's just, I'm nothing, I'm nobody successful. I mean, I'm just a normal individual.
Saying you're still humble about it too.
Yeah,
that's what's cool about it,
And another thing that kind of like, that people say is that, like how you're saying that people say how the colonizers and all this stuff, like, right, then, well, I mean, you're in America, I mean, you're worried about all these, you don't like all these colonizers, right? Then we'll go back to Mexico if you're from Mexico, and see how
they live over there.
Yeah, see how if you're able to make it over there from your people. There's a reason why our people left Mexico.
They won't even accept you because you ain't Mexican. You're Chicano. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a reason why our parents left Mexico. Why? Because their own government, their own people couldn't provide maybe the jobs for them to prosper in their own country.
Yep.
And for a lot of people to come over here, and start complaining this, that. I mean, people that leave other countries to come here to America, the reason is because of their governments.
Yep.
Governments are either shit or it's just a horrible. They probably living in a horrible lifestyle, or the horrible way of life, and they want the American freedom.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you don't have any freedom here, then and I don't know.
Maybe when you die, you'll have freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, I don't get it when you say that.
I get it. Like I said, because I was there. I think it goes back to how you're raised. What you don't have. A lot of us don't have shit. So it's easy to blame somebody
Mhm.
when you don't have anything
Yeah.
than to say, you know what, fuck it, I don't have this, you know. And I think also too, because we grew up playing sports, you
Mhm.
know, we had that mindset of, you know what, hey, let's get it done. You know, like I said, you weren't always the biggest guy on the court, on the field, but you played like you were 200 pounds. You know, I mean, you weren't afraid of anybody, you know, and that is what ultimately gets you. It's resilience, man. Resilience is what gets you through any situation, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, if somebody takes your life away, I mean, that's different. I mean, they kill you. I mean, like you can't control that. But if you're alive and you're able to move, resilience is what you need. A lot of our people have that,
Yeah.
but they're using it for things that are, like I said, are just keeping them in a state of anger, and they don't move on from that. And it's sad because that shit eats you up.
Yeah.
Like I said, coming from that place where I was there, you know, like I didn't feel any better, man. I didn't feel any better having that anger, you
Mhm.
know. And now that I know the stuff that I know, okay, like I said, I know it. It's time to push it. Time to move forward, you know.
Yeah,
But
like,
I wanted to segue to inflation, you know, because I mean that's one of the things that causes also a lot of raza from succeeding, because you know things go up and our wages don't go up or our income doesn't go up, you know. And I know there's like a big push to increase minimum wage, you know, in a lot of places, and a lot of people think, well, that's a good thing, you know. Obviously, you know, who doesn't want to get paid more money, right? But how does minimum wage or just, you know, just any kind of wage or inflation, how does that affect people from, you know, moving up too?
well, I think with uh, with minimum wage, yeah, I think it really hurts the the person that's obviously earning that wage.
Mhm.
Um, they a business, when you go into business, you know, like you're in it to make money, to make a profit, right? So if you're not able to provide $15 worth of productivity, then and the business owner has to pay you. If you can only provide, let's just say for example, $12 of productivity, and he has to pay you 15. How does that make any business sense,
Mm.
right? How does that make any business sense? You tell me. You tell me. You running a business, and and you were not making any money. Like, how does, I mean, why should you even be in business if you're not making any profits, if you're not making any money? Oh, so not only that, then now they start cutting back on the hours, you know,
Yep.
or they start taking away days,
Mhm.
or they start hiring less. Maybe
Yep.
the big corporation, maybe they could probably hire more people, but I mean, they'll probably cut hours, and so they could pay less
They won't
benefits.
give you benefits.
Yeah, you know, so they could cut your benefits, and then not only that, the higher wages. I mean, they have to be passed down to someone, right? I mean,
Mhm.
if you want to stay in business, you have to pass it down to somebody. So, I mean, and those end up getting passed to the consumer.
Yep.
You know, that's why you go nowadays. You go to McDonald's, you're paying like $12, $13 for a damn combo. You know, like it costs more to eat a burger than, I mean, it costs more to eat a damn salad at McDonald's than to eat a damn burger. I mean, that's crazy. You know, and then not only that, I mean, they
Mhm.
start automating. So like a lot of fast food places, or like anywhere stores, like, you know, like Targets, Walmarts, even
You see it.
Costco. I mean, even banks, you start to see all these machines. So I think that if you're not if you can't get, I mean, if you're not happy with your job, you know, or if you're not happy with whatever wage you're making, I mean, they're not putting a gun in your head to
Mm.
I mean, take the job. I mean, if you feel like you're underpaid, then go look for another job. Simple as that. Simple as that. You know, and I mean, that's the way I see it. And I mean, I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, like, and then like inflation with like the whole, like last year they gave all this stimulus money.
Oh man.
That,
Everybody was happy about that, right?
yeah,
Except
man,
for you, you're like, fuck this.
you know, it's like inflation is like, inflation is the it's an inflation of on the money supply. You know, it's an expansion of the money supply. So when that happens, when there's more money in the system, there's more with all the stimulus that they gave money to the people, then now people have more money to buy goods or services, whatever. So now there's a higher demand for these things, and that's why you're seeing these high prices. I don't know if people are noticing or catching, those high prices, but I mean, I'm going to the store, like when I go buy food, I'm seeing inflation, honestly, between 10 and 20%.
Wow.
You know, and sometimes you probably buy something that's probably $3, and the increase probably you're probably paying $3 for it before, and now you're probably paying, $3.25 or $3.30 or something. You know, that's a pretty significant increase. You know, and I mean, it's probably, what is that? If it went up 30 cents on $3, that's a 10% increase. You know, and they claim, and the feds, they claim that there's no inflation, which is kind of crazy. You know, I'm like, they're saying that there's like that they were gonna start, like tapering, buying like treasuries and bonds and all this stuff, and once the inflation rate hit, I think a little bit past 2%, but year to date, I think I believe we're like at 4%.
Wow.
And we're just halfway through the year, and this is based on the CPI. This is a consumer price index, but year over year, we're actually at, I believe, over 6% year over year. So at year over year, which is same time last year. So I mean, we're just halfway through the year. So we're seeing,
we're gonna pass that for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing inflation. I mean, it probably felt nice when people received that stimulus check, but like I said, they're putting money in your front pocket, but that's probably going to be the most expensive money that you probably ever got from the government, because they're gonna take it right back from your back pocket.
Exactly. Yeah, through everything, through inflation, right? And that's the thing that a lot of people didn't understand with all these stimulus checks, and I was like, anytime the government gives you money, that shit ain't right.
Yeah.
There's something behind that. The government doesn't care for you. I mean, they never have. Historically, they never have cared about you. And why would they start caring about you now? I mean,
they were just buying votes, I think, at that point. I think they were just buying. I mean, I think they should have never, gave out any stimulus. They should have never closed down any businesses. And if they wanted to close down businesses, then it should have been left up to every state individual to act, on their own. If you're gonna, like, why should I, like, let's just say, for example, California, right? They shut down, right? We shut down, and Tennessee wanted to stay open. Why should Tennessee pay for all this inflation costs? Because California wanted to stay shut.
Yep.
The reason California stay shut, because they knew they were going to get bailed out from the federal government, from the feds. So like, I mean, why? So like, if they knew that they were not going to get bailed out, they would have never. I bet you 100% they would have never closed. I mean, unless they were going to probably raise taxes, but I mean, taxes are already high enough. I think that was just going to draw people to leave the state.
Yeah, but people are always asking for higher taxes too, especially here in California, one of the highest tax states.
And I don't get why people. I don't understand how people think that higher taxes, or even whether you're rich or you're poor, you're middle class. I don't see how that's a good thing. Like, don't you want to keep what you earn? Like, do you think that if you kept more of what you earn, like, you would probably be able to do more? You could probably start a business if you wanted to start a business, or invest your money into something, or I don't understand that, how more taxes is better.
I mean, that's how Democrats, pander to our people.
Yeah.
They take shit away from us, and then they say, hey, here we're helping you out, right? So, for example, Newsom, right? People are saying, oh, he put the moratorium, right? He put a stop to evictions, right? But he caused that, though. He's the one that caused people to be on the street because he took away their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense how people are not able to see through that, or to see. They understand how to control people,
Yeah.
And I say specifically Democrats because Democrats have pandered to us for the last 20 years, and before that, they were doing everything in their power to make sure we weren't coming up. That's when they were, actually, passing legislations, especially in the South. I mean, people love Democrats, but in the South, they have the worst laws. I mean, against Black people, like, and we support them.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, people not know what they've done. I mean, talking about history, right? I mean, I don't understand.
And you want to know a crazy thing? Like, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you guys know this, but last year in 2020, 40% of America's dollars that have ever been created, 40% were created last year. 40%.
Wow.
That's freaking crazy.
Wow.
And we're already seeing inflation. I feel like this is just the beginning.
For sure.
I think we're gonna go into an inflationary depression. I think that's what we're gonna see. We're seeing it. Homes that last year they went up. I want to say like 20%. Went up 20%.
Impossible to buy a fucking home right now.
Yeah, gold, like all the commodities, like everything, gold, silver, everything went up like 20-30%, probably even more. Oil, I mean, but lumber went up like probably like 400%, 300%. So on and so on. It's just so. Natural gas doubled in price. Copper doubled in price. I mean, everything's going up in price. It is just the beginning. I feel like we're just 1 year into this craziness, and we're still dealing with all this pandemic stuff. It's insane.
Yeah, man, and that's why it's so important to own a home right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're renting right now, who's stopping the landlord from raising your rent? Yeah. You don't have rent control. Where we live, we don't have rent control. Yeah. And this fool, every time he raises the rent, he's like, I'm sorry, but the government keeps fucking spiking up my taxes.
Yeah.
Like, he's honest about it. I mean, like, he's like, yeah, like they passed the homeless tax, so now I gotta, basically saying you guys have to pay my property tax.
Yeah. No,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. He's like, yeah, you guys are paying it.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what a lot of people say. Sorry to cut you off, but that's what a lot of people say. Like, oh, like, well, I mean, I don't want to own a house because I don't have to pay property taxes. Okay, but you're renting an apartment or wherever you're renting, that bill's getting passed down to you by the landlord. So I mean,
yep, you're still paying it. You're still gonna pay the property tax.
So you pay it directly or indirectly, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like a business. Either like how we were saying earlier. If you had to pay that individual $15 an hour, then those to stay in business, you're gonna have to pass down those costs to the consumer. So I mean, it's simple, it's simple, like it's nothing difficult. I mean, like if you own a business, whatever business it is, and that person, that person's gonna eat before you, whether so that's why their rewards are bigger than yours, because you're making money regardless if the business owner or whatever is making money or not. So
yeah, and I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, like I said, that's why I admire you, because you're ahead of the game, or you're playing the game. You understand how this thing works, and you're trying to. You're trying to continue to move up in this game, and at the same time, like I said, whether you know it or not, you're having people out. There's people on the chat, bro, just blowing up, saying this is some good stuff. I'm reading some of the comments, right? We're all gonna come up. I invested when the market dropped. Somebody said that. So somebody said the fact last time we were around this high in inflation was 2008-ish, right? Yeah, man, just you're getting a lot of love. Somebody in here was challenging some of the stuff. I think he left, but I think they got a little upset with some of the stuff you were saying, or maybe it was what the shit I said. I mean, if I offended you, that wasn't my intention. I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah. We're just trying to give whatever little knowledge I have, knowledge you have. I mean, we can all, pass this on to each other, help each other out, make ourselves aware. That's a big thing there. Like I was saying earlier, like how we're talking about actually, inflation. Like if you're gonna save money, I mean, either invest in the stock market. Obviously, do your research. Don't be buying I mean, GameStop, where it's the company that's probably gonna go out of
And that should
bankruptcy.
fuck me up. That
That's
should...
but, or save some money. I mean, save money in gold or silver. Buy gold or silver because that actually moves up with inflation. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like a hedge against the dollar. And
Yep.
and also like even if you and for those that are watching, they probably own a home. I mean, just by you owning a home
Yep.
and if you have a mortgage, and I mean, depending on how your interest rate is, right? But like right now, we're like a historical low interest rates. Um, um, and with this high inflation, and you have a low mortgage, like a low interest mortgage, you're actually getting paid to own the house, right?
Wow.
Because your interest rate is at 3%. Let's just say, for example, if your interest rate on your mortgage is 3% and inflation is at 5%, you're actually paying back that bank with the value of dollars. You know what I mean? So they're
Wow.
not getting what they're supposed to. You can actually pay them with cheaper dollars.
There you go.
Very
There you
interesting.
go.
Having a mortgage is a hedge against the dollar, and I mean, if depending if you refinance, you have these historical low rates, and yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of things in economics that open
We
my
gotta learn.
eyes. Yeah, and open my eyes, and I hope that, I mean, whatever little bit of knowledge I have, um, is able to help out whomever is in a tough situation or wants to do something.
Mhm.
Like I said, I mean, I'm no one special. I mean, I'm just a normal individual. I get up every day in the morning, early morning, drive to work. Put in my 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is.
Listen to the podcast. No, no.
Yeah, this is a podcast. And I don't even listen to music anymore. I'm
Yeah.
on my way home. I try to use my time as efficient as I can. Listen to podcasts. Either economists, people that are involved in the real estate market. Like, I
There you
mean,
go.
real estate. It's crazy how if you could buy a second home, like you could buy a second home, kind of like doing like a cash out refi. A lot of people
Yeah.
they do a cash out refi, but like they take out money and they want to do like something to the house, right? I mean, I think the best thing to do is take that money, give it as a down payment on another house, and rent that house out, and just make sure that if you do rent it out, it pays for your mortgage, for the mortgage for that house. And if you could make at least $50, $100 profit on that, you got endless income right there.
There you go.
You got
That's how it
infinite
is.
income, even if it's $100. I mean, for doing nothing, why
Pretty
not?
much.
$100 a month.
The landlord who owns this property here, the
Uh-huh.
fool was born in Mexicali, and then he was he was he came here when he was young, single mom, raised on welfare. He was like alive during like the 70s or 80s. That's when he was working.
Mhm.
And that fool told me I think he was an engineer. And he said, I was unemployed so many times, and I still kept grinding. And the guy owns shitload of properties.
Mhm.
This
Man,
is a guy who came from Mexicali,
crazy.
fatherless, on welfare, and now owns a bunch of properties. And he's Rasta too, so yeah, I'm paying this dude his fucking, his rent or whatever, but the fact that he's telling me this, the situation, obviously you can tell he kind of cares, you know what I mean? Like he tells me his story, how he got to where he's got to how he got. So again, just hearing that's what I want to hear. I want to spend my time listening to people who are successful, that I think are successful, whether you see it or not. Uh, I think you are. Like I said, I mean, just owning a home already to me is a success
Yeah,
in itself.
that's
Like I
amazing.
said, because I mean, they don't have that growing up. We did what we could. Like I said, growing up in a garage. I mean, I was there too. We actually shared that garage when you guys moved in. We moved out of it. I remember that. Uh, but yeah, any last words to the people watching or anybody, like that you can say to help people out?
I mean, like I said, man, I'm just a normal person, and don't try to blame others. I mean, right now I'm in the process. God willing, I'm in the process of actually starting my own business as well. Like I'm a tradesman, right? I'm a tradesman. I'm a carpenter by trade. And and even in trades, you know, like, I mean, maybe some people, nobody talks about, you know, us construction workers. Everybody talks about the heroes, you know, the firefighters, the doctors, you know, the nurses and other stuff, you know, but, you know, we play a big role too. And if you want to take it to the next level, I mean, trades, I mean, they can actually be very beneficial. I'm trying to start my own business now too.
There you go.
Trying to go independent too, you know, like I don't want to keep working for somebody, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm not getting paid what I deserve. So, you know, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, you know,
There you go.
be my
That's the
own
goal.
boss, you know, so, I mean, there's nothing stopping me from doing it. You know, there's no white man telling me I can't do it. You know, you can't do it, you know.
Even if he does, you know, you're gonna say fuck that.
Yeah. I could do it, why not? And I'm in the process.
Watch me do it.
You know, just I mean, if you have a goal, you have a dream, I mean, there's always gonna be new goals in life, and just go for it, man. Don't let fear get in the way, because I know that sometimes fear, like a lot of people, and I noticed this, like a lot of my coworkers, they're kind of like my dad, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like kind of like the dad mentality, like
Yeah.
born in Mexico, and, you know, just put your head down and go to work, and they're like, their attitude is always like, but what if I lose? What if I lose? Always
Mhm.
negative. They're going into a negative.
Yep.
And
What if you win?
yeah, how come you don't say, what if I make this, or what if I'm successful? What if I, you know, I'm able to create jobs to help out others, you know, and so I'm in that process, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'm able to be a licensed contractor, man.
Wow.
You know,
Let us know. Let us know when your business is open, you know, so I can promote it here on this thing. You
but
know, you can come back.
the name's already filed. I already built the LLC.
Wow.
I'm just filing just I'm in the application process for my contractor license, and man, it's crazy just even just even talking about that. You know, I mean, 20 years ago, sorry, like 10 years ago, I would have never thought.
Yeah.
Would have never thought. You know?
It's happened so fast, you know. I mean, usually, you know, these things take time. So I mean, definitely, like I said, your fighting spirit, your grind, you know, have definitely played a role in that. And one thing that I wanted to say about you know, Mexican immigrants or just people from, you know, from the other side of the border, they definitely work their asses off. There's no denying that. But I think the biggest flaw that they have is, like you say, you know, like they are afraid to take that risk, you know. And it's ironic because a lot of them came from here taking a risk, just come to this country, you know. But when it comes to businesses or just things that they don't know about, the fear comes in, and you pass it on to your kids. Your kids will see that, you know. And one thing I admire about my dad, you know, that's what he taught us, you know, when we were kids, you know, like, and I'm pretty sure, you know, even with you, I mean, you probably got some of that. Always keep moving forward. You know, the confidence that he instilled in us is another reason why I think, you know, I've been able to do what I do, you know. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. And another,
No, I'm done.
I come from a family where, you know, I was the first one to, you know, graduate, you know, get any kind of, you know, not my sister came after, you know, but I was the first one. You know, I was the first one to get a driver license.
Yep.
I was the first one to get a driver license. You know, I was the first one to own a home, and I always wanted to be the first. You know, and yeah, man, it's and you know, it's just been a crazy journey, But I mean, I'm really thankful that I'm blessed, and but I mean, for anyone out there, just keep going, man. Don't let the fear go in, because with fear, like I said, man, with fear, you're already going in defeated. So yeah, man. So
Wow. Great way to end it.
but be on the lookout for Mencon Builders. That's my business.
There it is. There it is. Once you have that built, once you got to go and bring it back so we
Yeah,
can promote it, you know, so we can start pushing it.
So just be on the lookout. You know, probably soon I'll be in a neighborhood or a city near you, hopefully. You know, so
there it is.
yeah, man.
All right. So where can people find you? I don't know if you have, I mean, I know you have one social media. I don't know if you want to put it out there. You don't have to, you know, I want to be private, but if people want, maybe have questions, you know, want to ask you, where can they find you?
At Dave the Great, I believe it's what, Dave _ the Great, something like that. Sorry, I
look it up. If not, just hit me up and I'll give you his IG.
great.
Yeah.
That's my page. That's my personal. I don't have any other page. You guys want to ask
Not
something?
now, but you will eventually,
Yeah.
with your business.
You guys want to ask something? You guys want to ask something, or I'll be more than willing to
There you go.
tell
Use
you.
this man. Use him for his knowledge. He's taught us a lot of things today. I learned some things today. Again, I thank you for coming on. I know you want to keep it under an hour, up to an hour, so I'm respecting your time. It's almost an hour and 30, but that's pretty good.
I don't want to take up too many people's time. Time is money, and a lot of people have. I mean, sometimes take out time from their families, and I don't want to. I don't want to take off a lot of time. But for those who stayed on and tuned in, or probably tune on later, I mean, thanks for watching.
Yep.
Thanks, and keep watching the Raza Stand podcast.
Appreciate
Great
it.
talks, great great platicas, like they say, and amazing, man. Just it's good to get people together, their ideas, points of views, different points of views, and
Yep.
it's always great, to see different perspectives.
That's the goal. That's the goal. To have, like I said, when I started this thing, is to dispel myths, to dispel narratives, and to bring on people who are successful in my eyes, to help our people. Because I mean, people are saying, "How are you helping us out?"
Yeah.
This is how I'm doing it. Whether you believe in it or not, I can't help you there. You have to either believe it or you don't believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to force you to think how I think. That's not my intention. It's to give you information. But yeah, like I said, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it. And for next week, we're actually going to have a doubleheader. I'm going to pull a doubleheader that day because I got somebody who's going to be coming on who's actually out there. I don't know if you probably heard of him. His name is Anthony Cavassa. He's out there, like, in the middle of all these protests, and he's a journalist, basically, right? So he's gonna pretty much tell me what it's like to be in the middle of the fire, with all these people, with all these protests, BLM and Antifa, and so he's actually been attacked by some people too. So he's gonna talk about some of that stuff too. And then after that, we're gonna have an entrepreneur too. In the evening, actually a woman, so that's even more powerful, because I mean, she's gonna be the first woman to be on the pod. I'm trying to get more, but I don't know what it is. Maybe
step up.
I'm trying to get everybody a platform that I think, like I said, is willing to talk on here. But on that note, like I said, thank you very much. You guys can follow me on rasa.stand.podcast. If you want my personal IG, it's Flow DCM. And obviously, if you have not subscribed to the page, please do so. You won't miss an episode. And everybody on here who came on here, thank you very much for your comments, for your your questions. The people who are on here are always on here, representing and showing love. So without you, it would just be us two talking, So, but even so, you know what I mean.
Even though we could still communicate, we could still give ourselves some good information. So
exactly, I learned a lot of stuff, man, and I'll definitely, this should be out as soon as I end the live. So I'm gonna shoot you the link, so you can share it with your people, share it with your lady. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm on TV now, But on that note, this is Raza Stand Podcast Flow reporting, and Dave the Great, David Mendez,
out.
And we are people.